everyone, and welcome down to episode 97 of the Down South Photo Show. And welcome back, I guess, because we've been away a little bit. With me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia. And the guy on the other screen or in your other ear, if you are listening to the podcast, it's Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania. Welcome home, Cameron.
Yay, we made it home. We made it out alive.
We did,
Slightly.
in one piece.
I might be more scarred, but I made it home alive. Hello. I feel like I only saw you like a day ago.
Yeah, about right. Day and a bit. Yeah. It was. I think you'd be pretty accurate there. Cam and I have just completed our inaugural multi-day workshop. We've done a few one-day workshops together, but this was our first multi-day workshop up in the wonderful Mallee region of Victoria. It was
wonderful. I'll give you that. I was a bit skeptical.
Yes, well,
you produced the goods.
I was very confident we would come away with something pretty good, which we will break down in tonight's episode. We're going to talk a bit about the workshop. We have also been, both of us, to the Bright Festival of Photography, which was episode 96 for those of you playing along at home. We're going to talk a bit about that tonight as well, a bit of a recap on top of that.
Doesn't that feel like a month ago?
It does, and it was literally 9 days ago that we were in
9
Bright,
days ago.
so.
I feel like that was like last month or something. It's crazy.
It's been when we looked ahead to October, we knew it was going to be quite stacked, and you've got to get on a plane in a few days, as am I in a few days as well. So it's all it's nonstop.
It is nonstop. But yes, we had BFOP, we had then we had the Mallee, and then we're off again. So you're off to, where are you going? Queensland?
I'm going to Queensland. I'm going to go and visit my brother. And
that's right.
I'm also going to a very good friend of mine's place, but he doesn't know that, so hopefully he doesn't listen to the show.
Oh, yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yes,
your mate.
We'll keep that on the down low. Correct. Thank you for everyone for subscribing and following along with this wonderful little shit show we've got going on here. It's lovely to have you on board.
Show. Did you say shit show?
It's lovely to have you on board.
Oh my God, mate. Yeah, way to sell it. Yeah, you're doing really well. Yeah,
we have blown past 660 something subscribers on YouTube, so thank you everyone for that. And the downloaded hours, I think, are fast approaching 15,000 downloaded hours on the audio version of the podcast. So thank you for that as well.
That's a lot. That's pretty good.
I'm
pretty happy. Now, for those who might be thinking, "Gee, Cam's paying no attention to Brendan; he's just looking off the screen, fluffing around with his phone," you'd be right.
Yes.
Only reason is because Brendan threw it on me about 2 seconds before we went on, saying, when we talk about BFOP, let's have our BFOP backgrounds, but then we talk about the Murray, let's have the Murray ones on there.
That's right.
And do you think I've got any available on my computer here? No.
Probably not.
I'm multitasking.
We don't have to do that. We'll work it out as we go. It's totally fine.
Now thinking, before you go any further, we're in the nervous 90s. We've got 98, 99, then 100.
Yes.
I reckon this is going to be big, maybe. I reckon we could do the 100th episode with me being in a different hemisphere.
That would be absolutely fantastic.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yes. It sounds like it's going to probably line up with that.
Maybe I could do it from the Las Vegas Strip after
that would be brilliant.
45,000 beers with 5-star Dan.
Isn't the Formula One Grand Prix on in Vegas around then as well?
Is it?
You
get out. No, it's not. Surely.
You might want to check your schedule. It's not too far away. Anyway, we'll find out.
But this is not a racing show. Actually, no, it's the week before.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say, it doesn't make good radio. You Googling something.
Meow, meow, meow in the background. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, it would be. We must make special mention of our October competition, Cameron.
We should.
Gangbusters is not enough. It's bigger than Ben-Hur. This thing. We can literally say now that we have had hundreds of entries into our October competition. The theme for October is trees, and that is purely open to interpretation. All we're seeing is trees.
This is the one I chose, so that's why. I picked a good topic. Tell you what, I'm just going through some now. We are going to need at least 2 or 3 beers to go through all these.
Other than shots that I take on the beach, I'd say, 90% of the rest of my landscape stuff would have a tree in it.
Yeah.
So it was quite the can of worms you've opened up here. And
Yeah.
look, and I know our listeners don't need me to blow smoke, but the quality of entry to this point has been nothing short of fantastic.
I was
It's
just
going to
looking
be
through.
so tough to choose a winner out of this lot.
I've just seen one just flicking down quickly. I'm like, oh, I hadn't seen that one yet. I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
And then the one after, I'm like, well, that's equally amazing. And then I scrolled down a few more. I'm like, crap, that's really, really amazing.
This is going to be really tough to pick a winner.
That is. Yeah.
No, it's good. It's
you know what though? I've found one that might be controversial. Two that's controversial.
Do you have a clubhouse leader yet though? I bet you don't. But you're going to have time on planes to look at this sort of stuff, and as will I. So we will make a short list.
I'll tell you who's not winning. No, we're not tell you who's not winning. There's someone who's entered a couple of shots, 3 shots at least.
Me.
They're disqualified. No,
okay,
not coming.
Fair enough. Okay,
yeah,
DQ'd before they got out of the starting gate. That's fair enough too.
Yeah, I think so.
So before we delve into this week's topics, Cameron, would you like to tell the lovely viewers and maybe give 1,000 words to the listeners your background?
Or maybe 10 words.
Well,
all right.
Which is worth 1,000 words. That's where I was going with that.
1,000 words. So this is from Mount Hotham in Bright and the Alpine National Park. So this is actually taken from Mount Hotham in the Alpine National Park, which I think, I'm happy to be corrected, but I think it's one of the biggest national parks in Australia, the Alpine National Park, as in size. So this was actually on the day after BFOP finished. I had a couple of days up in BFOP. It took a couple of days extra just to chill out and explore the area that I love so much, because when we do BFOP, you don't really have time to scratch yourself or do any of your own stuff. So I wanted to have a look-see afterwards. And I went up Mount Hotham with a mate of mine, Jamie, and we went out to dinner plane, and he'd never been up there before. I think he was pleasantly surprised at how good the high country is. And on the way back, we ran into the good old Nikon Australia team. They were up there taking some photos as well. So we joined forces for the last hour at sunset, and we found these pretty cool spots. But this is an old, I guess it's an old snow gum of some sort, or gum, eucalyptus of some sort that's died off in the weather, but or fire maybe. And just looking, I think this is looking sort of southwest off, I think, what's it called? Mount Baldy, I think it's called. Mount Baldy Hut is just down the road from there. And it was just this beautiful sunset. We had this beautiful color. The white trees starking against the black sort of background there worked really well.
It's a
so
cracker.
Yeah,
I like the tree. The tree's brilliant.
I could enter that into our competition.
You could. It's definitely got
under a different name.
There's probably literally 48,000 trees in that photo.
I reckon there's millions of trees in that photo.
By the way, it is not the largest national park in Australia. The largest national park in Australia is the Simpson Desert National Park.
Simpson, eh?
I just yes, I just Googled that.
All right. Mm-hmm. National parks. What's the national parks by size in Australia? You tell me about your wonderful background.
All I did was look up the biggest. So I didn't ask. Okay, my background was done on a workshop that I went on with Cameron Blake. You know him?
Wanker.
Up at BFOP, the Bright Festival of Photography. And that was the sunrise. And it's basically pointing probably 10 degrees to the north of where the sun actually rose.
Mm-hmm.
The layering up there was something to behold. I now know why that lookout is so popular at sunrise. I'd never stood foot on that lookout at sunrise before. So I was excited. And I'm told reliably that in the far distance, that is Mount Kosciuszko.
Yes, so I think you're right there. You can definitely see Kosciuszko, and it looks unassuming because it's not really a peak. It's like a mound.
Well, the fact that you're so far away from it as well.
You're literally shooting into another state.
That's right. Is that legal?
I'm
not sure. Anyway. And so, I really enjoyed it. It was an eye opener. It was really cool to be up there, seeing Cam go through his paces. I did manage to help out a couple of people as well, take a few shots. So that was very, very cool. I enjoyed doing that.
Thank you for that.
We also had a bit of an experience there, Cameron, where a lovely one of your customers decided that they might drop their 24-70 Nikon f2.8 lens over the cliff.
Can't believe you're mentioning that.
Well, we're not naming names, but it was bizarre. So there's a rail there, and it's got a gap at the bottom of the rail, as you know, Cam.
Just enough for your foot to go under.
Yeah, but you probably squeeze a foot under there. And of course, I saw this thing just rolling, and it sounded like a drink bottle, like one of those aluminium drink bottles. And I thought, oh, someone's. And then I looked. I'm like, hang on a minute, that's got a lens wood attached to it. Oh my god, that's a lens. And then the noise became more like a death rattle as it just plummeted over the edge. And how far would that drop be, Cam? 150 feet, something like that?
No. It's I don't work in your generational measurements, but I think it's about 300 or so meters.
Oh, right. So it's quite a bit more than
I actually think it's here. I'm going to make another lie. I think it's one of the biggest circular drops off a cliff in Australia. I think
it was a long way down anyway, and safe to say that lens may never see the light of day again. It was
probably not. It's a funny thing though, that guest of BFOP, wonderful man, really lovely guy. We won't mention his name, but he doesn't have much luck at BFOP. If anything, he should probably stop going, because last year he was on my sunrise. And actually, just to clarify that, he wasn't on my workshop on this when he dropped his lens.
Right. Well, okay, true. That's right.
He was on that other person's workshop,
whose name shall remain nameless because we mention him too often on this show, and he gets too excited when we mention him.
And who's been disqualified from the tree competition.
That one.
Yes,
let's just say he should be a golfer. That might give it away.
He should be.
Yes.
No, I won't say that. So he was on that workshop, but this gentleman was on my workshop last year, and we were up at the cathedral at the back of Buffalo, and it's got these little lakes or tarns, as we call them down here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cold. It was like frosty cold. And I found this great little reflection of this rock formation in this semi-frozen tarn. And I sent a few people around. I said, just be careful. It's a bit mushy around the edge. And we were getting set, like packing up and getting it all done. And this guy comes around the corner and up to his waist, he's like just wet. I'm like, what happened to you, man? He goes, oh, that little lake you said was just a bit squishy by the side. He goes, it's pretty deep too. He'd fallen in it. So,
no.
And to rub salt into the wounds, on that same Bright Festival of Photography, he put petrol in his diesel car.
I think he needs to maybe have a rest from BFOP
I think
next year.
he just needs to stay away, I think.
Yeah. Oh, well, these things happen.
Yeah.
Which is a wonderful segue into our first topic for the night, which is a quick recap on BFOP. I mean, we probably don't need to add too much to what we said live from BFOP last episode.
Did we do a live episode? Did we?
Which got a lot of very positive feedback there as well. But being a first timer, I'll have first crack if that's okay.
Yeah, you go for it. Yeah, that sounds good.
It was. I don't want to say it was a surprise. It was an eye opener. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pleasant, very, very pleasant experience, mind you. BFOP, you don't know until you go. There's no doubt about it. You probably, for those of you who haven't been and you've heard people raving on about it, they're right. They're raving on about it for a reason.
Yeah.
The level of enthusiasm, the level of fun, the level of creativity in the room, the sheer volume of excited photographers was brilliant. It was something to behold. There's a real energy, a real vibe about all of it. Everyone's very, very keen to learn, very eager to get out on the workshops, eager to watch the presentations, eager to support the traders that come there and try their gear. And I mean, you could very easily go to BFOP and not sleep. And I think
many people do. That happens. That happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was very, very fortunate to get my name into Mark Watson's sports photography workshop, which was all about mountain biking, which floated my boat because I'm a mountain biker, not like what we were photo. This was freestyle mountain biking, doing jumps and stuff. I'm way too old for that carry on, but I enjoy bikes and I enjoy photography. So being able to go along to his workshop and literally pick the brain of a professional photographer who does this sort of stuff for a living, and Mark's got some amazing stuff. We might link him in tonight's show notes. Was a real buzz, a real thrill, just to see a master at work. And I took so much away from that. Even stuff that I implemented on our Mallee workshop, which sounds weird, but there
Yeah,
was
what?
stuff. Yeah, I know. Didn't like verbatim rip him off, but it was just like stuff that I started looking at sports photography in a new light, which was very, very cool.
Yeah.
Embrace the challenge of it, and I was very, very fortunate to come away with some great shots. I was wrapped with what I got during that workshop. So that was awesome. And then I got to go on a workshop with Mr. Glenn Lavender, who has been on the show.
Number one fan of the show.
Number one fan of the show. Has no idea what the podcast is called, but that's okay.
Yes.
And I think the workshop I went on with him was called Stumbling Around in the Dark Taking Portraits or something like that.
I think it was Stumbling Around the Dark taking shit photos, wasn't it? Or was that shit photos, like shit locations?
Something like that.
Which only he could come up with.
And the big difference here was we're doing portraits at night in bright in front of shop windows at one place in front of a restaurant full of people who were just like, what the hell's going on here? But and using artificial light sources, which is something I don't do. I've never dabbled in flash. I've never dabbled in artificial light of any kind. I'm more of a natural light shooter. And it was great. It was really, again, another aspect of photography. And that's the point I'm making is everyone who goes to BFOP needs to do at least one workshop that they would never have thought of before.
Good advice.
Yeah, macro, shoot a wedding, the unicorns in the forest. That looked like a very cool one, which I wouldn't mind having a crack at next year if I can.
Yeah,
if I'm able to get up there for it next year. It was it was very, very cool. And as I say, all the people that went to workshops that were outside their comfort zone, I think took away a heap because it all relates to your photography, no matter what kind of workshop it is. You will pick up tips and tricks that will improve your photography. So why are we pumping up BFOP so much? It's not like they give us a little commission.
No, that's right. Well, you know what? Someone actually who organises BFOP, one Mr. Nick Fletcher, could almost become the number one ticket holder because they opened the show in front of.
He's a big fan of the show.
He is, and you know why he's a big fan of the show? Because he's just a nice guy. He checks his ego at the door. He doesn't buy into all the other crap that the podcasts go on about. He's just an honest kind of guy who likes a bit of a good time. But in front of 500 people, as we launched into the opening of BFOP, he had a Down South photo show hoodie on. And I think our jingle was played multiple times throughout the presentation of that 3-day event. So thank you, Nick, we're happy to plug you if you want to plug us, which is great.
It was great that for him to do that. And it was funny because we got there and he's like, oh, can I have your hoodie? I went, you sure can.
And on stage he went. And it was funny because, as we know, Matt Crummins and Tom Putt run a podcast as well, occasionally. And Matt is obviously the second half of who manages BFOP. So it was a bit of tongue in cheek. But again, I think your recap of BFOP's spot on. I have so many people ask me, like, what's this BFOP thing about? Like, they don't know. It's just a photography festival. It's really cool. Come along. You know, there's no big heads or anything like that. It's all about photography. It's all about just loving what we do. And people are like, oh, I'm not really into that kind of thing. Or, oh, it's in bright. That's a long way to go. Or it's this or that. But you're right. Until you do BFOP, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it makes roughly some sense as to what it's about.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's all these workshops and, you know, again, encourage people to come along and try things they're not used to. But the whole 3-day festival it really is just a celebration of Australian photography, really. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, doesn't matter what camera you shoot, doesn't matter where you live, what your beliefs are, doesn't matter. Nothing matters apart from coming along and enjoying photography. So it's on again next year. I think they tentatively put in October 11 to 14 or something. So yeah, if you haven't been before, the hype is real. And it's good hype. And like you said, you get to spend time with some incredible photographers. I certainly don't put myself in the same level as some of the guys that go along there in regards to what they do. Like you said, Mark Watson, and there's a few others that Adrian Weir and Karen Dobia. You know, there's some amazing. We had some new ones along. We had Jeff Freestone and we had Adam Edwards, two other amazing Australian landscape photographers. So it was really great to catch up with them. But it's awesome. And value for money, like it's a no-brainer.
It's unbelievable value for money.
It's almost criminal that they charge that amount and the amount of stuff you get. So And there's lots of competitions, lots of prizes. Like you said, all the tradies are there. We had Camera House Croydon, we had Nikon Olympus, we had Canon. No, Canon wasn't there.
Who?
Canon. Sony weren't there.
No.
Um,
That'll change.
Yeah. No, it won't. No, I don't think they'll get invited. But if you are a Canon or Sony user, you can definitely come along. Our great guest, Adam, who came on the Murray Mallee, was there with his Sony.
Absolutely.
And he managed to get through okay. So, yeah, it's a great event. And it's really...
I don't know many other events like that where it costs so little to go to it. Yeah, sure, you got to get to Brighton, get accommodation, that I understand that. But to actually attend the show and potentially, I mean, I think I spoke to someone who had signed up for 7 workshops, which is pretty amazing. But, and I'm only using the workshops I went to as an experience, but the mountain biking workshop, Julie from Nikon was there, and she had out on the table, and I'm guessing here, but if there wasn't $200,000 worth of camera equipment on that table, I'll go heat. Yeah, we're talking the absolute latest, like Z9. We're talking like, you know, the all the f2.8 Pro lenses that Nikon have. And she was like, "Would you like a camera? Here you go." And you could use it for the whole workshop. You had to give it back, sadly. But you know, for Nikon to make themselves available for BFOP like that, and to make the gear available for BFOP like that, was credit to them. And I know we poke fun at the big brands on this show, but you know, but that has actually not changed my mind about Nikon. I've always thought Nikon gear is fine, but it actually it was just great to see that support for budding photographers who, you know, let's be honest, may not be able to afford to ever shoot with a camera like that, but they could get their hands on it, see what that gear can do for them, and then maybe that might filter down to, you know, the lower models that they can afford. And you know, there are certainly features in those cameras that they'd be able to use. So hats off to everyone who supported BFOP. But
well, that's right. I was going to say as well, like there was Nikon that had gear, there was Olympus or OM Systems had gear there as well. Camera House had some gear. I think they were lending out. There was Tamron, lower lens or lower lens. Yeah, however you say them. Fujifilm were there. Fujifilm had this thing, that big giant screen they had. How good was that?
Fantastic.
So yeah, that's one thing that is good as well. And I can see it, and I guess I can see it because I've been there as well. Like, you know, we all start out with our photography somewhere. I can imagine myself going there when I was just starting out in photography and walking around and going, "Oh my God, that's a $10,000 lens there. I would never be able to use that. Here you go, take it outside, have a play with it." Like, it's almost like saying, "Hey, there's a Ferrari, there's the keys. Come for a spin and come back."
It's like, exactly like that.
Like, it's okay, exactly really, like does anyone have to hold my hand? No, just go. So yeah, it is a credit to Nick and Matt who put it on, and Laura and the other partners and wives and friends that help out with the whole setting up. It's a big task. And to the other presenters who give up their time relatively freely to come along, it's an amazing event. So yeah, definitely get in there if you can next year.
Absolutely. It was a blast. Moving on from
surely that gets us some sort of sponsorship now or something.
It was actually pretty cool. For those of you who don't know, Cameron and I actually shared accommodation in Bright. Where
are you going with this? Just remember, Brendan, I have a video of you playing golf. Remember,
that's all I got to say about that. Then we literally had a few days apart, and then we met in Swan Hill.
Swanee or Swanners. I can't get it right.
I'm going to let you lead off this segment about our trip to Swan Hill and our Mallee Murray workshop, Ken.
Well, the Murray Mallee workshop was a roaring success, I believe, based on the feedback we got already and the photos we went and took and the locations we saw. It was great. Yeah, like you said, we had a few days off. We all met in Swan Hill. We had a little debrief or a little pre-trip meeting in the reception area of the hotel there, and
we
got to know each other, exchanged names and details and where we're from, what we shoot. And then the next morning we headed out early. It was early, Brendan, real early.
What was departure time? It was 5 a.m. I believe. Departure time.
It was stupid o'clock. That's what it was.
It was dark. I know that.
It was dark. It was dark for a while too. So we went to Sea Lake to start off our little workshop, and Brendan had gone and done some wonderful scouting. and managed to look at this. How good am I going? Look at that. Just changed my
bang.
background.
You're all over it.
So we went out to Sea Lake, which is this amazing spot here. This is actually after sunrise. We were a bit further around the coast on the left there, but so we went out there, did a sunrise. We then headed back into Sea Lake, had some brekkie. We went back out and got this shot, and then we explored a few things down further south. We went to an amazing shearing shed, which was thank you to Ian for letting us come on your property.
Now, can I just pause you there? Ian, he probably doesn't watch the show. I'm not sure whether he does or not. He bloody well should.
I would doubt very much he watches this show.
I doubt that you would meet more of a salt of the earth gentleman than Ian.
Yes.
He was so lovely to open his entire McClelland property up to us. The shearing shed was incredible. His whole property was incredible. 140 years of history on his property there, and we had free reign. He just said, "Go wherever you want, take photos of whatever you want," which was just wonderful of him.
Well, it was. So that property was very cool. And well, originally we were meant to go there when they might have been shearing some sheep, but they obviously got through their quota early, which is fine. But I actually think that worked in our advantage because we had the leftover, I guess, remnants and environment of what had been happening the day before. And it really gave us more free reign. I think if they were all there doing that, it would have been a bit more restricted to where we could go. But
definitely.
Yeah. But it was great. We then went on to where we go after that. We went back into Sea Lake. Yeah. Sea Lake and had dinner.
We did.
And then we went out to do sunset.
Sunset. And that's when you got that photo right behind you. That's where I got this shot.
That's where I got this shot behind me. Then we got home late that first day. That was a big day.
It was basically.
I do remember you walking in, passing out in your bed.
It was basically 16 hours on the go for everyone. So with very little downtime in between.
Yeah.
And some people might go, gee, that's a big day on a tour. But I think to a person that the cameras were still clicking and whirring like well late in the day. And I think it was because Lake Tyrrell, which we have spoken about before on the Down South Photo Show, but it's one of those places that's starting to get sort of mythical status about it for photographers. Yeah. I had a chat with Glenn Lavender tonight, actually, just talking about he asked how the Mallee...
He's messaging me right now.
He asked me how the Mallee workshop went, and I was telling him, and he was saying himself how excited he is to get up to Lake Tyrrell for some portrait work. So, I mean, aside from the natural beauty of the place. So it's definitely an awesome place. If you get a chance to get out there, by all means, go and check it out. Or, gee, who knows? You might want to book a place on the 2024 Mallee Murray workshop.
True. So then the next day we woke up not as early. We had a little bit of an easy day the next day.
Well, it was about 45 minutes later.
45 minutes later, we went to the Swan Hill Bridge. Correct. To try and capture some morning light, which didn't really go off. We had a little bit of stuff going on, a bit of mood, but it ended up being actually a sports high-speed photography workshop with Brendan running through puddles and doing splashes and stuff like that.
Well, this is where Mark Watson's workshop came out in me. It was like, okay, yeah, we had a puddle on the ground and there was people out jogging, and a jogger ran around the puddle, and there was a beautiful reflection, and a couple of our photographers were already in position. And of course, the jogger disappeared, and then I think it might have been Adam or one of the guys looked back up the track and said, "Oh, gee, I hope another jogger comes along soon."
That's right. And we tried to coax them to run through the puddle. Right. I just went, "Nah, not doing that."
And so, I just asked the very simple question: "Well, do we know anyone who might be able to run through that puddle for us?" And of course, I was referring to myself so that people could get the shot.
Yes, you were, and we did get that shot. It was good fun, actually, and then it's sort of what did you say? Making jam out of pig shit? Was that
absolutely. It was thinking on the fly because the sunrise, and this is landscape photography. The sunrise didn't happen. It was grayed out. It was just an overcast day, mind you. Having said that, it gave the bridge more of an industrial sort of grungy look, which I didn't mind.
I think that moody sort of grey weather. Yes, it was challenging, but it certainly made everyone think outside the box a bit, and we did. We totally thought outside the box. We put you in a puddle, but
that's right.
And the same thing. We went there on the last morning, and we had a little bit of sun, but not the greatest sunrise again. But again, it created some interesting thing. But so after that second morning, we headed back and had some brekkie,
We
And
did.
then where did we go after that? I can't even remember. Did we do the Pioneer Settlement? Was that Pioneer Settlement?
Well, went somewhere else in between, but I'll just give a very quick shout out to Cafe 202 in Swan Hill. If you're ever up in that neck of the woods, go there for breakfast. Now, we went out to the Murray because a little paddle steamer decided to come on past us.
We did. We watched the paddle steamer. Thankfully, Brendan was thankful that came past. So we watched the Pia. Is that what it's called? The Pia steamer?
PYAP, the Pia.
I did pay attention. I promise.
You took a great photo of it.
It was good. Yeah, it came around the corner, then we waited around and it came back. It's funny. I loved it, actually. That was one of the funniest parts of the whole trip. Like a paddle steamer for folks at home doesn't really move at a great rate of knots.
It does not.
But if you've ever wanted to see 8 photographers sort of shit their pants about missing out on a photograph of this thing going walking speed all along the river, there's like, we had everyone sort of set up, make sure you get your compositions. Everyone was ready to go. The paddle steamer came and everyone just lost it. Oh my God, I've got to get up here. I've got to get up there. Oh my God, I've changed my settings. What am I doing?
Yeah.
So it was shooting under pressure.
Yeah.
But the good thing was it went up, it does a U-turn and comes back down the river faster than the way up the river. And people got some different shots on the way back. So that was cool. We then went very cool. And we went and had a look at the Pioneer Settlement, which
correct.
Again, apparently I might have gone there. I don't remember. Brendan's got a great shot of the blacksmith. That's almost an award-winning photograph, that, Brendan.
Oh, shut your mouth. I think I was really, really happy. This shot came out exactly how I had it drawn up in my mind. Right. This is the blacksmith shed at the Pioneer Settlement. They come in and at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they put on a little show. I think they do one in the morning as well, where they fire the old forge up there and they make horseshoes and tent pegs and all kinds of stuff. But that whole shed, I mean, it looked like it was just dragged straight out of like 1870.
It looks like something out of Hollywood, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't look real.
Like a set.
No. Yeah, and the light was so good because there's so much crap all around the shed, like it's even blocking the light. So it gives us this really nice sort of soft lighting. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that. And then, yeah, you're right. We jumped on said paddle steamer and went up the river and laid down the challenge for people to tell the story of the paddle steamer. So, yeah, that was very cool. I enjoyed that.
There was. And then we came back and had a little bit of a downtime, a little bit of a rest.
Yes.
And then for sunset,
we went to Lake Touchy Wop.
We did go. That's right. We went down to Lake Touchy Wop.
Yeah, which was a real challenge because again, the sunset was great, but it was blowing a gale, so we didn't have any smooth water to photograph. We had choppy water, which again we got there and I was like, okay, well, this is a fresh challenge. How do we get good shots out of this? And I'm here to tell you, some of the best shots of the whole weekend were done at quite possibly the worst location we went to.
It was. I think there was a bit of a collective moan when we walked over that little track and everyone went, oh, is this it? Because it's really windy and it's no smooth water. What's going on? There's no real foreground. There's nothing. And all of a sudden the clouds lit up and the sky did something. There was birds of prey flying around. There was intricate little details of shells and little gnarly dead roots and stuff like that. So, yeah. And for the whole trip, I think we did something that was really cool. We played those little photo competitions. Yeah. So every now and then Brendan just pop out a bus, right? This is a photo competition. You have 10 minutes to shoot this and off you go. And we gave a few prizes away. So I think the guests got a lot out of it because they had to think on the fly a lot. Like there were certainly times where it was just, okay, let's set up our cameras and just do the classic sunrise, sunset shots and all that kind of stuff. But every now and then we'd throw them a curveball and say, right, guess what? You can only shoot 50 mil at whatever it is, F4. And you can't change that, or you've got to shoot something that includes this old town hall and you've got to try and make some art out of it. So that was really good. And then the last day, is that the last day we're up to?
Well, it's sort of technically the second last day, which was on the Sunday, where we hit the road and did the big Mallee.
We did.
Mallee Loop Drive, I guess.
We did. We had to sleep in because the sunrise was not meant to be any good. And I think it turned out it probably would have been okay. As it happens.
Turned out to be foggy, but that's okay. We'll get
foggy,
that
which is fine. So then we went up to Naya West.
Naya West, well done.
Which has to be. I think everyone overplayed it a bit as to how sort of weird it might have been. I actually found it quite a normal little country town.
Yeah.
But the buildings there, like you said, they were very cool. We did a live Facebook page post from there with the buildings, and it was cool. And like it did feel weird in a way that some of the stuff in the windows of the shops is like, this hasn't been open since 1975. This place,
I
and
looked through
probably
the
hasn't
window.
been.
Yeah, I looked through the window of one of the shops, and there was this old ladder there, and the roof had literally caved in. And I swear,
Yeah,
no one's been in that room for
no,
40 years.
yeah, it was like a time capsule. So,
Mm.
weirdly though, the thing I found the weirdest about that town? Like, yes, all the shop fronts were great.
Mm.
The characters walking along the street.
Mm.
So you think this is you think
I
you know where I'm
think I
going
know
with
what
this?
you're going to say. Yeah.
Maybe, maybe. So we're looking around this town. It's a bit derelict, and it's got one IGA. That's the only thing that seems to be open. But over the road in the background is this gospel choir singing in the
That's
church.
exactly what I thought you were going to
Yeah,
say.
and we're like, we got out of the car, and the first thing I thought, I'm like, I reckon they're islanders, those guys singing, because white people can't sing that good.
Yeah. Well, there
And they
are a lot
were.
of islander workers out there on the farms.
That's right. They're farm pickers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And the only reason I know that because I got married in Fiji in a church, and we had a gospel choir sing at our wedding, and it sort of brought back a few goosebumps. That, but so you're walking around this really cool, quaint, weird, derelicty kind of horror set movie town, and in the background you got this beautiful choir playing. It was just weird. So, but that was pretty cool. Then we headed off down a road. It was the Naya Chinkapuk
Correct.
Road.
We headed from
There's all
Naya
these
West.
names.
From Naya West. We headed west towards Chinkapuk. We were lucky enough to stop on a couple of locations where we got hay bales in the paddock.
The hay bale was good. Yeah, all the rolled hay bales.
The 4 silos, which I'm here to
Yes.
say you have got a phenomenal photo of. I just thought
You like that
what
one,
you
I
did
don't-
there was great,
Don't-
and
I don't know where it is.
I saw quite a few participants' photos from that spot as well. And it was really good because it was one of those locations that you and I had never seen. So our participants got to see how we would go about shooting a scene like that. Real fly on the wall stuff. And personally, I like to call that money can't buy experience, where you get to see a professional literally stalk a location and work the locations to their best advantage, if you like. We only had 20, 25 minutes there. But that was more than enough to see people, or to see you in action, to see me in action, to see what we were trying to achieve here.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think it was D1 who came, David 1. We've had 2 Davids on the trip, D1 and D2. D1, lovely gentleman, who came away with an absolutely gorgeous image of that as well. So that was very cool.
Yeah. And you're right. That is it's something cool when you can actually see people build up as you go along at a location. Like you stop there, and like I said, we were like, we weren't planning to stop there. We didn't even know it was there. We just pull the bus over. Let's go here. So what I like is, and I think this is a good tip for people listening, is within about 3 or 4 shots, you can change dramatically the shot you're originally going to get. So everyone got there and just went, oh, there's a crop field and some silos. Bang! They put everything in the middle, and everything was sort of a bit unbalanced. And then we changed a few things around. We got a bit lower. We incorporated some of the wheat, the wheat in the foreground, and had the silos using a bit more negative space. And then we changed aperture, and we started shooting really shallow aperture on the very background to blur the foreground out. And within 3 or 4 shots, people went from, oh, there's a happy snap, to, hey, these are really nicely constructed shot of a real Mallee Murray country sort of scene. So, sometimes it only takes a couple of steps to go from happy snapping to not happy snapping. Have you got a visitor? Have you?
Yeah, I did have a visitor. I had a visitor pop in, but we are in the middle of a podcast, so it's not the guy, and it's not the blacksmith either.
He's not back there. So after that, we went to Chinkapuk, which has a railway crossing, some silos, and a town hall, where Brendan apparently had been to a 21st there once.
Ridiculous.
With the girl that wasn't his wife. It's back in the day.
I wasn't married at that point. That's right.
That's right. Yeah. So we did a photo challenge there. Then we moved on to, don't tell me. Oh, God, what's it called? W. Starts with W?
No. We went to Manangatang.
Oh, Manangatang. God, oh my God. Manangatang, where the races were the day before. We weren't betting on them, I swear. No. And that was a very cool location too.
Yeah, we had the old train station there and railway station, and the old, again, silos. Have you ever seen so many wheat silos, Cameron?
Yeah, there's a lot. What I loved about Manangatang was, I think Manangatang was the outside version of what you got behind you with the blacksmith. I think that blacksmith little shop there had a zillion shots you could take in there. And Manangatang was the same along that train station and silos. And, we had the grain on the ground that you took a shot of. We had the tracks with the leading line. We had the old derelict building. We had the silos. We had Dave D1 posing on the train. Like, we had it all sort of happening there as well.
Yeah, it was great.
And then we headed south. From there, we headed south to Sea Lake again.
We were back in Sea Lake. Sea Lake sort of became the hub of the whole trip, didn't it? It was sort of our touchstone for the whole trip.
It was sort of like the middle of the crosshair, wasn't it? We went through there a few times, and we went down to LaSalle's, to what we think was the first original painted silo.
Yeah, my understanding is it was one of the first, well, if not the first silo art in the whole of Victoria, and it was painted by Geelong artist Roan, who is very, very well known in this area. And yeah, absolutely spectacular silo art at LaSalle's. Probably it'd be pretty close to my favorite silo art in the whole area.
Yeah, that was very cool. And then we headed back to Sea Lake for dinner.
We did.
And then on the way home, that was going to be our last sunset. And we thought, well, we'll see what happens on the way home. Looking a bit boring. The light's fading off. I don't think it's going to happen. I think you and I might have looked at each other a few times and it looks like we're just going back to the hotel room.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, these storms has rolled in from the west. We pulled over, went down a road and found a little crossroad with early access to the fence of a wheat field. Yep. And we had this beautiful storm roll over. So with these beautiful endless wheat fields with a couple of little trees and these massive storms coming over the top. That was pretty cool as well. It was actually a nice way to finish it off.
It was.
So then we went back, and the next morning we wrapped up things. We did another sunrise shot at the bridge, Swan Hill Bridge. We wrapped it up, and we sent people on their merry way to their next adventure. So it was awesome. Yeah. I think it was great. I must admit, I'll be totally honest here. When you floated the idea of the Murray Mallee to me, I'm like, yeah, look, it could work, it could not. It's probably going to depend a lot on weather. I had all these things in my head, as you do. But pretty much from the first morning being out here at Sea Lake, I went, okay, we're on here. This place has got absolute gems everywhere. So
it has.
Yeah. Credit to you for floating the idea.
Thank you. No, I had full confidence, and I think because I grew up in the area, so that really helped, and I knew a lot of the locations. More importantly, I just knew the drives. I knew the roads would have, as you say, hidden gems on them along the way. And to me, although the Friday and Saturday were great, they were quite structured days though, so that we could get people into good areas to take photos. Sunday became a little less structured, which we knew we knew where we had to be and when we had to be there. But along the way, the journey was actually, I think, to me, probably the biggest highlight of the trip, particularly when we got out of Naya West and headed along that stunning section of road. And it's not the Mallee Highway, it's the road that's south of the Mallee Highway. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. There's salt pans out there, the dead trees that we went past.
That's right. They were cool.
All the wheat fields, the silos, Chincopook itself. I mean, I just like saying the name Chincopook. Who wouldn't like saying that multiple times?
Yeah.
It was awesome. Really enjoyed it.
Are we gonna go again?
We will be definitely going again. Now,
can I give you something without notice?
Yes, you can.
I know your son has a birthday around that time of year.
Yes, he does.
What day is that?
That is the 7th of October.
Okay, so you're free for BFOP.
Correct.
And I'm floating the idea that we do the Murray Mallee workshop from the 15th of October to the 19th of October.
That makes all kinds of sense, Cameron.
It should be, because it's actually on my website already. So I reckon that's roughly when we're going to. We'll confirm that, but
and this
we'll
is
run that again next year.
This is not heavy promoting or pushing anyone into it. I guarantee you that's going to sell out again. We had people this time around that were disappointed. Well, now that we've done it once and we know what people will get from it, all you have to do is talk to any of the 8 participants that came on it. They'll tell you that we're not we're not making it up. We got into some great spots.
We did. And I think if anything, the one thing that probably was a little bit disappointing on the trip for me was that we didn't get any crazy weather. It would be we had really nice weather pretty much, but I would love to see like a massive storm come through there, or something really like some amazing sunrise and stuff like that. So I think it's only going to get better next year when we do it.
Absolutely.
So it was good. I loved it, and proof's in the pudding, mate. The photos look great.
Yeah. For those of you who are on the audio version of the podcast, I have been putting up a few photos on the screen throughout the episode as Cam was reeling off a few of the locations. So jump
That's
on board
amazing.
and thank you. Jump on board and check out the episode because it is really worth watching.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, Cam, you might have a few of the photos up on your website or somewhere where people can see
Yeah, sure. Let's put them. I'll have a
We'll
new
work it
section
out.
of my website soon.
Yeah,
We'll put it up there.
As will I, and we will link that at some point down the track.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Really, really good. Great wrap on that trip, and very already excited about next year. Should we just, while we're here, should we briefly mention the other workshops we've got available as well?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, we should.
Excuse me.
Great Ocean Road.
Yes,
Sorry.
Great Ocean Road in May, which is now
Great Ocean
more
Road
than
in
half
May.
sold out. Is that right?
Yeah, because at least two people from the workshop we just did have booked on the next one already. So this is one of the benefits of coming on workshops with us. You get first bite of the cherry for the next one.
That's right.
Or you get you know what I find, and I'm sure it's true, and we all do it, but I feel people come on a workshop, they're, oh, I'll come on a workshop, I'll see how these two are. They look like they're dickheads on the show, but they might be okay. They might not be. Let me just test it out. And they come and do one, and they realize, like, yeah, they are dickheads, but you know what? They're my kind of dickheads, and I want to hang out with them, and we want to do more stuff. So
I think in the spirit of BFOP, it was the no BS workshop. Like, what you see is what you get.
Customers. We did it.
What you see is what you get with us. One bit of extra feedback as well. The food. The meals, the places we went to eat were absolutely fantastic. I mean, I don't think we had a dud for the whole time. Yeah, look, we went to the odd pub or two, but that's what it's all about.
I'll tell you what the meals were. They were bloody big.
I felt like it was a little taster for your trip to the US, I think.
We didn't mention, we'll only do this briefly, but we didn't mention the Lake Boga Hotel Rockabilly.
Absolutely
that was there. There's a rock.
Could we have timed it better?
And there's this lady literally Brendan pulls the bus in, and this lady rocks up in a leopard skin furry jacket, lipstick to the hilt, hair up in a bun. She goes, can you not park here? We've got a rockabilly going on here tonight, and there's all these old cars coming. Just move your bus down here. You're more than welcome to join in. And we went in there, and there was Elvis, there was Fonzie, there was, everyone. There was a whole lot of
little kids in leather jackets.
Little kid. Cool. How's the kid with the mullet? That's the best mullet I've seen in millions of years.
Absolutely.
But it was great. So, Great Ocean Road workshop we have in May. There's 4 spots left on that, which I think will sell. Again, that'll be another great trip down in your backyard.
Yep.
And then the one in my backyard, which is the Tarkon Cradle, that's already sold out. But based on how quick that one's sold out, I would suggest that'll run again.
Yes.
So it's growing nicely, our little Facebooky, podcasty YouTube show.
Yeah.
Workshops.
And I think, and this is without notice as well, but there's a very, very good chance that a 4th workshop will be added throughout the calendar year. So
Jesus.
I think the Down South Photo Show will probably run 4 workshops a year. The 4th one that we are seriously considering. Can we hint to where we might be considering that, Cameron, or not? You probably don't know
about this.
It's in an area of Victoria that rhymes with champions.
Champions. Oh yes, it does. Yes. I think so. Yeah. We'll leave that one. I reckon we need to build that one up. But if you can work out the cryptic clue of champions in Victoria, leave a comment below and see if you can guess where it might be.
Exactly. We were going to discuss the fact that Cameron's straight away from OM system. Would you want to hold that over the next week, or are you happy to breach that?
Look, I feel we've got a few minutes. Okay. I have a confession to make.
Confession time, Cameron.
Confession. I've already sat on the couch with you once this week.
This is true.
I'll sit on the couch again. So at BFOP. It is the BFOP.
It is the BFOP.
Yeah, the BFOP. As I mentioned, that first photo I had on my screen up at Mount Hotham, we ran into the Nikon crew. And now Julie, I've known Julie since I was about 18. Julie from Nikon. She is an industry legend. And aside from being an industry legend, she's probably one of the nicest people you will meet on the planet. She is openly caring, openly helpful. She's just a lovely soul. And I don't think you'll ever hear anyone say a bad word about Julie. Julie, Ross, and Cindy were the three guys that were helping out at Nikon. And I ran into him with my mate Jamie up at dinner plane, and we pulled in. I was actually I was pulling in to go to the Dunny, and I saw their car sitting there, and they had the back open with all the Nikon gear to sit there because they'd packed up. And I'm like, oh. And Jamie's like, oh, there's the Nikon guys. I'm like, oh, I'll go say hello and walk over there. And Julie's like, what do you want to use, Cam? Just grab something out of the boot and have a go. I'm like, oh. Like this is this like the take a boiled lolly, get in the back of the van type of thing where I'm going to get kidnapped or something. So I pulled out the ZF, the Nikon ZF, which is that old school camera, which I do like the look of because it looks like the old Nikon FMs, and I love the FMs. And I picked it up and they put a lens on it and started shooting. I'm like, oh, this feels okay, not too bad. And then she said, oh, try this lens. And they gave me like a 400 2.8 or something like that. I'm like, oh. And we were shooting at all those dead trees in the valleys. It was really nice light. Anyway, we got talking and talking about how I use a lot of my OM gear, and it was a very interesting conversation. But I walked away with it thinking, have I just done something wrong? Like, have I just cheated on someone? Or because I actually I felt dirty, but in a good way. I walked away and I thought to myself, okay, I've used Nikons. I guests have Nikons, you get and help them and stuff. And I've always sort of hung a bit of shit on their menu systems, and I still hold that a little bit to be true. But I guess it's like any system once you start using a menu system. But the ZF was good, and I picked up a Z8 as well and played around with them. And I must admit, the first thing that came to my attention was they're not as heavy as I thought they were going to be. So I was actually quite surprised with that. And they just look nice, they feel nice, they sound nice. The files, I got the files off and had a look. And so yeah, I'm here to make an announcement that I used the Nikon and I actually enjoyed it. Which either says one or two things. Either one, that I am easily swayed by pretty shiny things, or two, it still doesn't matter what camera you use. If the experience is good, if the light's good, if you get a nice couple of shots out of it, really, you don't, when you press that shutter, you don't remember what camera you're using. All you remember is what you're shooting. So a shout out to Nikon. This is the biggest Nikon love we've ever done. And I can already feel the comments saying, no, you're changing over and you trader and coming to the dark side and you finally saw the light, all these things. I haven't made any decision as to whether or not I'm going to be changing brands over anything like that. I'm quite happy where I am. But yeah, great shout out to Nikon. You know what? They rock up to BFOP. They bring their gear along. They're very generous with their time and knowledge. So shout out to them. If you have not used the Nikon before, if you like the old school cameras, go and have a play with the ZF. It's a really cool camera. I am considering maybe trying to get my hands on one for a bit more of a play because I just like that old school feel about it. So, but yeah, again, thanks to Julie, Ross, and Cindy. And the next morning we caught up again, and they bought myself and Jamie breakfast before we left Bright. So can't thank them enough for that. And you know what? They're better than Canon because Canon don't even rock up. So Canon can get stuffed.
Yeah,
I'm on the Canon hate wagon now.
Yeah, I did manage to pick up a couple of Nikon cameras when I was at BFOP as well, and I've been a Nikon shooter for a long time, so I'm not, there was nothing new to me there. But what was new to me, I guess, was their mirrorless. I haven't really played around with their mirrorless system too much. It seems to me like a lot of the kinks have been ironed out and things are improving. Didn't get my hands on the ZF, but I am keen. I think I'm also it actually reminded me a lot of my OM5, to be honest, but maybe a little bit bigger. That's all. It's
actually a bit bigger than that and heavier than that, but chuck a 50 mil on it or a 35 or a 24 or something like that, and you would almost feel like you're shooting a FM back in the FM2 or an FM.
Yeah, so
cool. I think that's good when companies go back into their heritage and build cameras around it. Yeah, so again, why not Nikon? If you want to sponsor the show, please contact Cam at tazphoto.com.au. to talk further.
Absolutely. Or even sponsor the Down South Photo Show. Could you imagine?
That's what I mean. Sponsor the show.
Yeah,
you know what? Let's I'm going to reach out to Julie and say, do you want to sponsor an episode?
I would doubt that she would hesitate. But we'll see.
No pressure.
No pressure, anyway, Julie.
But thank you.
Housekeeping time, beer donations. We've had
a couple of weeks.
Well, I'm actually very, very happy to say that David Marland, hello David, he donated us quite a few beers. I have taken a 6-pack home with me.
Yes.
Whatever that is. What is it?
It's a Japanese. Kieran
pronounce that.
Achabachi
Thank you.
Ichiban.
Yep. That's a very nice drop. So thank you, Dave Marlin, for giving us that. Mel H, couple of beers came our way. Mel, we missed you on the Mallee workshop. Maybe it's the
Mallee
workshop next year. Who knows?
Yeah.
Jenny, who came on the Mallee workshop, has also donated us a slab of beer.
Like we need any more encouraging.
She obviously liked what she saw and said, I think I might poke that forward, put a bit more petrol on that fire. So thank you. Laura M, thank you, Laura, for giving us a beer. And Lee D, thank you so much for buying us a beer. If you would like to buy us a beer, head to dsps.com.au.
How polished are we now as a show?
We're not Polish, we're Australian.
Ooh, boom.
Thank you very much. Cameron,
Shit joke.
Look into your crystal ball and tell me what you've got coming up in the future.
Future is only a few days away. I'll be heading up to, did you say prick?
No, I said correct.
I thought you just called me a prick then.
No. What I said and what you thought I said were two different things.
Yeah, radio. Okay. So I head up on the weekend to the very top of Australia, going up to Kakadu for a 5-day workshop. So we're going to spend 3 days in Kakadu and then 2 days back in Darwin, exploring the Litchfield National Park as well. It's going to be good. 5-star Dan's coming along. He's never been there either. Well,
How
I've been
exciting.
there. He hasn't.
How exciting. The great sounding workshop.
It's going to be a tad warm.
I would only imagine.
At the moment, the average temperature in Kakadu is 41 per day.
Fantastic.
But there is storms starting to roll through each day, which is what we were sort of wanting for. And then back to Darwin, we'll go visit some beautiful waterfalls and stuff like that. So looking forward to it. Got pretty much a full house for that one, which is awesome.
Wonderful.
And then I'm back here for a couple of weeks before I do a Franklin River trip, and then I'm done for the year pretty much, apart from the US.
Yes. Well, that's going to be awesome.
What about you?
Well, I can't really say because the person that I'm going to visit doesn't know I'm going to visit them, but I am jumping on the big bird to Queensland. So looking forward to that. That's for, I think, 3 or 4 days next week. And then we have the downhill run to the big fella with the big sack coming our way. So
who, me?
So here we go. In retail at Christmas time.
Strap in.
That's right. So let me just say I'm looking forward to January already, but we'll get there. Awesome. Yeah. I think that's an episode. I think that's a wrap. Hopefully you have enjoyed seeing and hearing about our adventures through the Mallee and northwestern Victoria.
And northeast Victoria as well.
In case I didn't make it very, very clear, thank you, Cam, for being one half of that workshop and making it such an experience. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I felt like it was a well-oiled machine, but nice and relaxed, just how people like it.
Yeah, I think I agree. And it was great to finally do a multi-day workshop with you. We've been talking about it for a while.
Absolutely.
And you know what? It was awesome to be able to do it in your backyard to start with. That's a great way to sort of kick off what could be a beautiful relationship going forward.
Absolutely. And also then the returning serve down to Tasmania next year. I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I don't know if you've done this on purpose, but you did seem to avoid one important part of that trip.
Do tell.
We played golf the next day.
Oh, apologies. Of course, had I taken the trophy, I probably would have mentioned it. But
I'm sure you would have. But you didn't, did
folks,
you?
we had the inaugural, which is the worst word to say.
Inaugural. You know what? If you get your phone and tap the speaker and just say inaugural, it'll type it out for you.
Exactly.
That's what I learned from this trip.
We had the inaugural Down South Photo Show tour golf day. So we plan on mixing a little bit of pleasure.
Be careful how you word. Be careful how you word this. We're not doing workshops around playing golf.
No, we are not. But as it turns out, when in Swan Hill and one wants to partake in the wonderful sport of golf, one heads to the Murray Downs Golf and Country Club, which is one of the best golf courses on the Murray River. And we played 18 holes, and Cam got the chocolates.
Yes, I did. Just
by 2 stable for points. I was coming home with a wet sail, but I couldn't quite get the head of steam up. But It was
It was
great.
good.
It was a lot of fun. Shout out to Craig and especially Luke for organising the round of golf for us.
Yeah,
Murray
that was awesome.
That's
Thank you,
Murray
Luke.
Downs Golf and Country Club.
Jesus Christ. Can they sponsor a show? Can they sponsor us the whole year?
I think they kind of did.
They sort of did, didn't they? Yeah, they did actually. Because but that was good. We had a great
Yeah.
time up there, and I look forward to the next one. But yeah, what are we up to now? 98 next week.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's.
I'll be in
close.
Kakadu. Maybe. Well, hopefully I can do one.
We'll work it out. Surely they have the internet up there now. You know that?
Do they?
That's it, folks. That's the podcast. That's been episode 97 of the Down South Photo Show. Thank you so much for joining in. Big shout out to everyone who joined us on the workshop over the last week. And we will see you all for episode 98 of the Down South Photo Show next week. Bye for now.
Great episode, Prince. It's so much better than the other one the other show. Doesn't happen. Bye.
Cheerio.